Hey yo, how's it going? Not too long ago I posted this poll right here on my channel asking you guys whether or not you're having a hard time coming up with chord progressions. A lot of people have a hard time coming up with things that sound not just boring and plain. And so what we'll do in this video is we'll dive into something called the RBL method. I think that can help you come up with some more spicy, interesting things. So the RBL method is basically just an acronym that stands for rhythm, blues, and lead. And the reason why I pick R&B songs to kind of start out with in order to get some inspiration for the chord progressions that I'll come up with is because they contain spicier and jazzier chords that you normally don't find in your average, in your average blues or rock song. And then the L in the acronym stands for lead. So what we'll do is we'll come up with the rhythm part inspired by an R&B song, and then we will come up with a lead part to go along with that. So for the rhythm part, what I've done is I've taken Let's Stay Together by Al Green, and what I'm playing here is the chorus of the song. Let's stay together. So it sounds like that. It's beautiful because, as you can see, we have some of those jazzier chords in there. So what we can do is we can just learn that entire part. This first chord is a G minor 9, so it's an extended chord, as we call it. What I'm doing here is I'm barring over the third frets of all the strings with my index finger. Then I place my ring finger on the 5th fret of the A string, so it will sound like that. Then I'm going to take this pinky finger and I'm going to place it on the 5th fret of the E string on the bottom. And there we have a G minor 9, so that's the first chord of that chorus of Let's Stay Together. And then we have this one. So this is an A minor 7. It would be an A minor, but we're just taking and lowering, we're literally taking away this pinky or this ring finger right here. So I'm placing my middle finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, and then I'm placing my index finger on the 1st fret of the B string. And then I'm playing all the strings from the A string and downwards from the 5th string. So then you get that sound. So we have G minor 9, A minor 7, and then we get G minor 7. This pinky here that we initially had on the first chord is going to move from the 5th fret of the E string to the 6th fret of the B string in this case. And then the next chord after that would be a B flat major 7. Sounds like that. Index finger on the 1st fret of the A. Ring finger on the 3rd fret of the D. Middle finger goes on the G string on the 2nd fret. And then the pinky is on the B string down at the 3rd fret. So all together. And then after that we have an A minor 7, similar as the 2nd chord we played earlier. And then we get a D minor 7. So that would be like this. middle finger on the G string on the the second fret. And then we bar with our index finger on the first frets of both the B and the E string. So those are the last three chords there. And then we get a C, basic open C chord, as I'm sure a lot of you know from before. And then this F chord. Index finger on the first fret of the E string, ring finger and pinky on the fifth frets of the D, the A and the D strings. Middle finger goes on the G string on the second fret, and because we're barring here, we're on the first frets, we're fretting the first frets of the B and the E strings as well. So there you go, all together. All right, and now we're finished with that. So what we can do now is we can take some of those chords and we can turn them into our own chord progression by basically taking some inspiration from this. The interesting thing here is that you don't really need more than one or two of these extended chords in order to make things more interesting. So let's say we actually just take the first three chords of this of the chorus here of Let's Stay Together, and then instead of going to this B flat major 7, we could just go to the C chord instead. So what I'm doing here, doing a basic A form as we call it. So this would be a bar chord with the index finger on the third fret of the A string. And then I'm just using this ring finger to bar across the fifth frets of the D string, G string, and the B string. So if we change it like that, it would sound like this. Still sounds really good, and then you can even add that F chord in there to really get a nice resolution at the very end. So what we did here is we essentially took the entire chord progression of the chorus and then we removed three of the chords so that we now have a more simple, and we also have an original chord progression of that G minor 9, A minor 7, G minor 7, then S, what am I talking about? S chord. Don't you know the S chord? It's this one, the infamous S chord. I should probably make that into a real thing. No, but anyways, we have the G minor 9, the A minor 7, the G minor 7, the C, and then the F. So just playing these chords by themselves is okay, it sounds pretty nice, but to make it even more interesting, what we can do is we can add a lead part. So that's the last part. Remember, we're taking inspiration from an R&B song, and then RBL, the last part would be the lead. So we're gonna add a lead part that can play in between these chords as well. If you listen to the guitar player of the original song here, you'll actually hear that sometimes he does play the chords as arpeggios, as a melody, as opposed to just playing them, you know, like that. So this is the lead that I came up with over this chord. I'm just playing, doing a downstroke of the chord first so that all the notes are ringing out. And then I go E, B, G, and then back to B, and then all the way back to E again. So that would be the first bit. Highly recommend you just practice that for a bit. And then we can add the second part. So I'm sliding with my pinky from the 5th fret over to the 6th fret. And then I use my ring finger. I've moved it from down here all the way to the B string on the 5th fret. And then we want to move to this chord again. Highly recommend that you go very slow with this stuff, because when you combine rhythm, meaning chords, with leads and solos, it can be very challenging. So do go very slow, practice with the metronome. If you don't know how to do some of these things, practicing with a metronome, for example, highly suggest you click the link below to check out my free school community. Me and my students, we do this all the time over there. So it's a great place if you want to ask me some questions as well, because I want this to really be contextual for you so that you can actually make a lot of progress and have fun while you're doing it, right? So we have this chord, A minor 7. And here we have a similar arpeggio as well. I came up with a very similar one. So a little bit of a difference. I go E, B, G, and then back to B. And then I go 3rd fret of the B string. Whoops. Back to the 1st fret. Up to the 3rd fret again. And then I slide from the 3rd fret up to the 5th fret. So. And then I go back to the 3rd fret with my index finger. We're just playing for this lead, we're mostly just playing on the B string, at least during the second half of that lead part. So that's that, and then we go back to, we're actually going back to this G minor 9 for a minute. And then we're about to play almost the identical lead as before. E, B, G. But then right after we do that little, we go to the 6th fret of the B string. And this might be a little bit difficult because Pinky is not used to moving or doing the things that we tell it to do. So make sure you practice this. Just go very slow here, right? As I've told you a million times, you'll probably get bored by this video at this point if I continue to tell you that. But you want to go. So you go 6th fret of the B string, down to the G string, and you're just holding the chord here for the most part. So you go G, oh sorry, B, G, E, and then you do that same thing again, B, G, and E. So that's how it will sound like. And here you have to skip a string as well, so you go B, G, and then you have to jump over the B string to go back to that E lowest string. So all together, let's just do a quick recap, very slow. And then we're gonna go to that chord right there, the C chord. That's the new chord that we replaced this B flat 7 with, right? So we'll go here, we're playing that chord, and then this is gonna be a really fun one. Might be a bit challenging as well. So what I'm doing there is hammering on from the 3rd fret to the 5th fret with my index planted here and my ring finger planted there. So I'm hammering on, strumming once, and then hammering on so I'm not strumming again. Then I go one string down to the D string, 3rd fret, back to the A string, 5th fret, 3rd fret of the D, and then 5th fret of the A again. Then I do another hammer on from the 3rd to the 5th fret of the D string. And then I slide up like that. So 5th fret to the 7th fret of the D string. Then I go one string down to the G string, 5th fret, 7th fret of the D, back up again to that G string. And then I want to bar with my index finger here on the 5th fret, so the G and the B. And I just do a quick little strum like that. And then we go all the way down to this F major chord. So all together. Now, if you saw the introduction to this video, you will notice that I did play a few additional things there. I actually made the chord progression longer because personally I just love this exercise myself, so I got kind of addicted. How do you say? I was traveling at the speed of inspiration. That's a lovely quote from Josh Homme in Queens of the Stone Age. If you want to learn the extended entire part, if you want the tab for it, feel free to join my school community and then you can just let me know. There's a link below to that. It's completely free. I'm aware of the fact that some of these leads might be a bit difficult, so if you take away anything from this lesson, it would be that you are definitely able to experiment, right? Come up with stuff on your own. Use your own imagination to learn other people's songs and then see what happens if you take away some of those chords and replace them with other ones. Maybe it won't sound great in the beginning, but if you keep trying, you'll figure out things that work and you'll learn a lot and you'll have a lot of fun in the process as well.